Those are some value picks that we got in our draft. What was the most surprising pick in our? And I use that word surprising, but what do you think? I mean, just not in a bad
So,
way, but what was
so I think the most surprising pick would have been Saquon Barkley taken in the 12th round, which was attempted. I don't know how his analytics let him slide that far down the board.
someone tried to
Obviously
steal?
he was gone by pick three. But and then surprising, for our league, surprising is different than
Yeah, and
maybe some
people.
other leagues.
Yeah, and people will do stuff like that, and that's kind of one of those things like experience kind of builds. And I know I've done stuff like that too. But like imagine like a tier one, tier point five like running back going that far. It's like wait a minute. There's no. At that point I would just cross them out like without even asking. I would just like. But so that's pretty funny. Any other like surprising like
So yeah, who I was actually going to say,
hmm
which isn't too surprising, but it'd be Kyler Murray in the second round.
Okay,
Normally
yeah,
we would expect Juan to take maybe go back to back running backs there. Um, Maybe a defense kicker
yeah,
in the second
yeah,
round. You normally like the third round closer, but Kyler Murray there, that is an interesting pick. So I guess the first five quarterbacks off our board here. So we had three in the first,
hmm
Mahomes, Lamar, and Russell Wilson. One in the second, Kyler Murray in the middle
hmm
of the second there, and then Dak Prescott coming around at the top of the third. So all five of those quarterbacks um, have, I guess, their legs.
yeah,
That's a big part of their game.
I agree.
Um, Maybe not Mahomes so much, but he definitely has shown what he can do,
hmm Yeah, I
what he
agree.
can do there with his legs. And when they're all scared of his arm, that'll
Yeah.
definitely open the field for him.
It's
Anyway,
interesting because our league drafting quarterbacks at this frequency in the first and second round isn't strange, but we're not seeing the same names as we've seen in past years. Totally different names, I think. Almost totally. Not, I mean, but like past years, I think you'd see like Breeze, Brady, or like who's another one that might get taken in the first or second round, like past years.
Aaron Rodgers
Aaron
always.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah. But this year we saw like you said, Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson, which I think in other leagues also you may see early. But we tend to kind of like we said value the throwing yards a little bit more, which doesn't shake things up too much. But it really looks like it came down to rankings for quarterbacks, and then that's how people drafted the first few over names. And I'm wondering if that value is going to pay off in our league,
Yeah,
especially for the
definitely.
early ones.
A lot of the old guard over here that you see
hmm
there, they're dying off here.
Yeah, I mean they're older, yeah, for sure.
I think this is the first year that I've in our 10th year here, first year that I've drafted Aaron Rodgers, and I got him at the top of the sixth round,
Yeah, it's a
and
really
I
good point.
still felt like that was maybe a stretch for
Yeah.
him.
No,
Um,
I totally see you
you
there.
you see where all of this, Tom Brady, maybe he'll be reinvigorated here. That'd be a
Yeah.
great pick. Maybe a little bit of trade bait for somebody who
Yeah.
also has Dak Prescott here. Trying
hmm
to do the coin flip strategy over here.
Yeah.
Heads Mahomes, tails still Mahomes.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Mahomes the singular new guard? Would you say for like that level of quarterback? Is there anybody else that stands up there with that throwing power, with that like?
So Devin, just by points alone. So our yards count as if it was just standard running back receiving scoring, right? So
Right.
10 passing yards for a point. So if you're expecting him to put up, 300 to 400 yards a game, and maybe, let's say a Lamar Jackson, you're only expecting him to put up maybe, 200,
Mm-hmm.
250,
Yeah.
but he has the potential to also rush for up to 150 yards.
Right. Well,
that evens it out right there, you know.
yeah.
So he definitely showed what he was capable of, even in a pass heavy league that I'd
Yeah.
say our
Hmm.
league.
Yeah.
He definitely showed his worth, uh,
Yeah, I agree.
as well as Dak, who he has the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback since he's come into the league.
Hmm.
Um, so that's just shows now he has his arm also. So
Yeah.
arm and legs together, deadly combination.
Hmm. No, I agree. Kind of transitioning a little bit between quarterbacks, and I want to talk about uh, a couple things with, again, having 12 teams in general. Do you think quarterbacks are going to see, because before our point system, sort of, there's a big, this is clickbait. I mean, it's been a discussion for years between our league. Does it make quarterbacks more important in our league? A lot of people say it doesn't, because there's a wide selection of quarterbacks, and everyone can have a top tier quarterback on your team. Now that we have 12 teams, do you think that's still true, or do you think there will be more diversity in the quarterback position, which we weigh a little more heavily? So rather than going two quarterbacks, we bump their score a little bit, so it's a bigger part of the pie per team.
Yeah, so I guess if we want to just go down the line, and I guess we'll name the first quarterback drafted by each team their starter,
Sure.
right? So we have Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Lamar Jackson, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, and Deshaun Watson. So those are all um, quarterbacks that have been starters in the past.
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe I guess Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, they're the new kids here. Kyler
Yep.
especially, but they've shown, I guess, in standard leagues what they're capable of. Josh Allen,
Yep.
especially with his rushing floor here, he has a new target in Stephon Diggs, so maybe they'll have a good connection there. Um, I don't see too much difference, I guess,
Yeah.
in an 8-man league or even a 12-man or a 10-man league. The past few years, you see a lot of just wow, you have some good players on your bench.
Yeah. Hmm.
So over here, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady,
Yeah.
in previous years, like what are you doing with both of them?
Yeah. Like,
You
why? What's the
oh, I'm
point?
going to use them as trade bait or
Hmm.
just as insurance or it was a
Right.
steal or
Hmm.
whatever the case is. So this season right here, just looking at the draft board, I doesn't look like it's going to um, be too much
Yeah.
of an effect having us stretch to 12.
No, that's just, I was thinking kind of the opposite, but the way you kind of broke it down, like, okay, let's just look at everybody's starting quarterback. That I think it's still pretty. It hasn't gotten too like off it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think some people. I mean, do you see any teams here that just don't have a QB2? I mean, look. I mean, but
Uh,
really, when do you need your QB2? You
well,
know?
I guess we'll have to see. Juan's
Yeah.
team is always a wild card here,
Hmm.
and by wild card, more of a how are you getting these wins
Yeah.
every week. So he took Kyler in the second, uh, which is
Juan's
pretty rare,
clairvoyant,
and he waited until the 12th for Drew Lock.
right?
So
Hmm.
it looks like what you're hearing around Broncos fans, of course, like Cowboys fans, always hyped up. They're
Hmm.
you know they're really excited to see him play here, and he should be a big improvement over what Flacco had given them last year.
Hmm.
So he's good at spreading the ball around there. They
Yeah.
have good amount of targets. A lot of people. So if you I guess he doesn't have any of the Broncos receivers or tight ends to pair
Yeah.
Drew Lock, but if you're just playing the quarterback, you don't have to worry as long as he's
Yeah.
throwing it to somebody and they're catching it. Other than the Jameis special, yeah, that's what you're looking for success.
Yeah. It'll be pretty interesting, but no, I think I don't know. I'm trying to think what's the winning position going to be in our league this year, but it might just come down to this year we it might not be one. It might not be the year of the defense this year. You know what I mean? It might not be year of the tight end this year. And I think that's better actually.
Yeah,
Um
I definitely agree.
yeah.
I'm looking at. I guess I don't know how everybody else is feeling on how stretched out their teams are, or their maybe I
Mhm.
got a RB1 as my as my RB1, and then maybe an RB3 or a four as my RB2 here, depending on
Yeah.
how far their picks got stretched out there. But for instance, if you see Patrick Mahomes, lighting it up, going for
Yeah.
5,500 yards, 50 plus touchdowns, it's a little bit easier to get booms through passing than it is to get booms through rushing.
Right.
You
Yeah. Cuz
know,
the that workload is a lot different for the
you're,
player.
you're down 10 points, and here it is, end of the fourth quarter. Oh, 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's 11. Now you're on top.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to expect to get a 50-yard rushing touchdown?
Yeah.
You know,
No, I totally
same
agree.
situation. So
Mhm.
quarterbacks definitely still have their power for us
Yeah,
when it
definitely.
comes to, I guess, being more in a clutch position at the end of games.
Yeah.